I reckon my favourite memory with Dad was probably, and I was a little bit surprised that this one popped up straight away, was him taking me to see the first X-Men movie um, when it was in cinemas. I think I was just like still young enough that going to the cinemas was like a real treat and not really my idea. I was happy to wait for movies to come to the video store. And I think it also helped that Mum was a little bit worried because it was an M15 movie and wasn't sure if I should be allowed to go. And Dad kind of was like, "Oh no, it'll be fine. He'll be right." And I I felt very special that it was just me and Dad, and that he was letting me see a movie that Mum thought was maybe inappropriate. So that memory's always stuck with me. Helps that it's a fantastic movie as well.
Hi, Dad. When I think of my favourite memories with you, not one particular memory springs to mind. I just tend to think of the times when we would go for walks together, say up Black Hill or that kind of thing, and talk about random nerdy things that only we cared about, or playing tennis and jamming together. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I always enjoyed spending that quality time with you.
I don't have a particular, like one particular favourite memory of my dad, but just the little things and the time spent together doing things. Like one thing we used to do was I would join him for his like evening exercises that he'd do after work. It'd just be a little jogging on the spot, star jumps and push-ups, and I'd just quietly go out and join him, and we'd work out together and just spend time, just the two of us.
Dad's always made me feel special by his investment in my music. So whether that is always making the effort to come out and see my new bands, even if it's not really his thing, and even if he's going alone, that's always been really, really appreciated. But also just catching up with Dad and him mentioning another work colleague that he's shown my records to, that is interested in what we're doing, or still listening and talks about it and stuff like that has always made me feel very appreciated and very loved.
One of the ways that Dad makes me feel special is the way that you're always there for me. You're very generous with your time, whether it be building cupboards or transporting carpet squares across town, or giving me coding advice. You're always just willing to spend your time and energy helping me out, and also for Tim and Katie as much as you can with them interstate. But yeah, I don't know, that just makes me feel special, makes me feel like it makes me feel prioritised.
Dad just makes me feel special in the way that he relates to me, which is different to the way that obviously he relates to Tim and Mitch. It's I've always been quite independent and wanting to make my own decisions, and he has always really respected that and not tried to force his will upon me or anything like that, but he always gives me advice and listens to my questions, and but then he lets me go and make my own decision, and he's done that since I was a kid, and all through my teenage years. I make my own decisions and he's there. He may not necessarily agree with them, but he's always there, so I always knew that I was safe, and if I did make a mistake, which I often did, that he would be there to help me correct it.
I struggle to think of one specific thing that Dad always tells me. It might surprise him, having raised 3 quite willful children, but I don't think he's had to repeat himself too much. But I guess the messages I associate with Dad are probably around organisation and financial responsibility, which I'm still probably struggling to learn. But you know, pay your bills first and buy your treats at the end of the pay cycle is one that I always remember Dad trying to instill in me, maybe in vain.
The only real catchphrase I can think of that Dad would always say is, say if I made a yawn or some kind of weird stretching noise, he would be very quick to say, "That's what I always say," and it made me laugh every time.
What Dad's always told me is not so much a particular phrase, but it's the lesson that he instilled in me, which is to, I guess, not rush things, take your time, be informed, do your research. Every purchase he would make, he would sit and Google and research and look at reviews and all the specs and everything and know what he was in for before he took the leap, and that lesson has remained with me. I know it's also true of my brothers. We always read the instructions for a board game before we start playing it. I always read the manual, I know Mitch does too, of any washing machine or sound system or anything we get. Always read the manual first, then you start playing with it.
I think the thing I love most about Dad is his unwavering patience. I remember him telling a story about just making a decision to never lose his temper again, and that's always stuck with me. And as I have grown up myself and become a father and, you know, continue on in life, that decision and the fact that, Dad, you pulled it off, you've managed to not lose your temper, as far as I can see, only becomes more and more impressive. You know, that's made for a blessed home life for all of us, and just an absolutely incredible example for myself, and I'm sure Katie and Mitch as well. So thank you, love you.
What I love most about Dad, one of the things is that you're a complete goob, but you own it. And I love that. I think that's really cool, even when you're being completely uncool. So yeah, never change. And just the fact that you're like our rock. You're just that constant for all of us kiddies. You're always patient, always calm, always listening. Yeah, we just we love you for that, and I think we lucked out and got the best Dad out there. So yeah, love you, Dad.
I watched my brother's videos before recording this, and we are pretty much all in agreement here in that what we love so much about our dad and what makes him such an incredible dad is that he's just solid as a rock. He is endlessly patient, always calm, no matter how crazy or upset we get. He's just an absolute rock. And growing up knowing that I could rebel and push and do silly things, but knowing that he was going to be there exactly the same as he was yesterday, exactly the same as he was the day after, and he'll be the same tomorrow. It's just such a fantastic example of our Heavenly Father and his steadfastness, and I am just so beyond blessed that I have had such a fantastic earthly example of what that means. And it's something that I try and probably fail to emulate, but it's something that is very important to me in the way that I parent now, that I'm a parent. I only have a baby, but I'm still trying to, I guess, live out those values that I have taken from him being such a great father, and instill them in my son.